Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in this video tutorial for APFe. We're going to be discussing the schedule. Okay, so the schedule's brand new to APFe. It is part of the season mode, and it's really nifty because you can do a whole entire league without really without doing any work if you want to. But we're going to walk through this schedule and basically show you all the features. This screen is something that I spent a lot of time on to make it as clean and as dynamic as possible. And this is brand new, as I mentioned. So let's go ahead and start with the header here. In the header, you're going to see every matchup. So as you click through each one of these rows here, you're going to see the details for that game. And if the game was played, you'll see completed on the right. And if it's a game that hasn't been played yet, you're going to see if it's a user or a CPU game. Okay, so I'm the Owls in this instance. That's the control team. And for the Owls, it's a user game basically. On the very top, you're going to see the time and day that these take place or took place if it's in the past. And you're going to see the records, the team name information. You're going to see the exact game results, first, second, third, fourth, and final quarters, which is kind of cool. But also what you're going to see in the main grid down here is every single game all the way through to the playoffs. Okay, but the playoffs haven't started in this this file because this goes up to, I believe, week 5. Let's take a look here. So yeah, week 5. So we're on week 6 now, and the last game that was completed was the Monday night game on week 5. Okay, but this is a pretty cool grid because you have a lot of information. You have your time, you have each section, every week, and then you have the matchups. You also have the the teams here, the home and away teams. And then you have the 2 starting quarterbacks. And you can click on their names and you can take a look at how they rank against each other. I picked the QBs because they seem to be the most popular to pick, just to kind of give you like a matchup on what QBs are playing each other. Okay, and these are the starting QBs. So if one of these guys were hurt and you had another starter in there, you're going to see who you're playing against. And I didn't have enough room to put the top defensive players or anything like that. I just put the QBs, and this could become something more in the future, but I figured to give it more, more details and more pop if I put these in. But what's also cool about this menu is I can actually click. I'm the Owls, and I can actually click on one of these teams and get their entire schedule. So now you're in the team schedule. So I'm going to see all 16 games for my team in one shot. I want to look at the Wasps. I can do it this way, right? If I want to go back, I can just click on this button, the schedule button here, and go back to the full menu. And that's pretty much it. So that's the main schedule area. Now, if you want to double click, you're going to go to the schedule editor. Okay, and the schedule editor allows you to create an entire schedule. The one thing that you can't do is you can't change games that have already been played, right? So if I click on any of these games that have been played, it won't let me, right? But if I go to a week that hasn't been played, I can change that I can change this schedule game. Okay, I can change who the teams are. But typically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up a file. Let's see if I can open up one that was the original. Let's see if it lets me do it because I've already made some changes here. Hopefully it does. That way you can see it from scratch. So, okay, so this is raw. So if you want to look at, and by the way, when you click on any of these games, if I go to this game here, I'm in week 7. It's going to take you right to that game. Okay, so when you're in the schedule, you're going to go right to the game that you're clicking on. Okay. Um, so you can sit here and manually, you can swap the teams. So if you want to swap the teams, you can just swap them. And what you'll see down here is you'll see what games have changed. So when I swap the teams here, you'll see that I've all of a sudden, for Miami, I've lost a home game and added an away game, right? What you're going to want to do is have 8 and 8. And all these different columns here represent divisional games, conference games, non-conference games, Thursday night games, Sunday night games. And you're going to want to make sure that you look at this, because if it's not correct, like if I swap these teams and I try to go somewhere else, it won't let me. So you have to have at least 8 away games and 8 home games per team. You got to have that exact number actually for this game to work. Okay. So you can sit here and you can manually just recreate your schedule, and what you do is you double click on one of these rows here, and then you can pick any team versus any team, and what'll happen is, and then you can pick your your date, time, and there's a limit to what you can pick. You can't pick dates that are earlier or later than this. I couldn't find a way to change the actual years also, because if you go anywhere outside of this range, the game freezes. Okay. And obviously, if you ever want to see any help, as usual, just click the question mark or hit F1 and it will take you right to the help. Okay. So you can sit here and manually go through each game, and that's fine. But you're going to find that if you do it manually and you are trying to recreate the NFL per se, the schedule is not going to be it's not going to be the same exact schedule as the NFL, because the NFL has 32 teams, right? So you have to be careful, and then but you could do it manually. But the point that I'm trying to make, it could become a little bit of a headache, because you might end up getting stuck with combinations that you're like, man, why does this team not fit? It's got too many home games, or too little home games, or whatever the case. And what happens is you end up kind of playing Rubik's Cube with this and trying to fit a mold. So you can do it and you can finish it yourself, but it's a very difficult task if you don't know what you're doing, and it could take some time. So what I created was this random schedule generator. Okay, so if you click on this button here, it will take you to the schedule generator, which will automatically create a brand new schedule for you. It really hasn't been optimized the best, because I spent quite a bit of time on this to make sure that every team plays the appropriate amount of games. So you want to play 8 home games, 8 away games. You want to have like 3 or 4 divisional home, 3 or 4 divisional away, conference games. You want to have that whole mixture be as close to the real life schedule as possible. So what I did was a very, very professional type of generator, but it can take some time. So just be forewarned that when you hit start, it might take 10 minutes. So you might want to walk away and come back. But when you're done, from my testing, it's going to end up with a schedule that's really nice and random. Okay, so I'm not going to push that right now, but if you push start, it will complete the schedule for you. And then if you're working on it and you're like, you know what, I don't like the way it looks, you can click this button and it will take you back to the original schedule. So if you go in there and mess things up and you start swapping teams or whatever, and you're like, you know what, I don't like this, I can't go anywhere, it won't let me, you can hit this restore and it will restore back to the original. Okay. And the other thing is, whatever you highlight here, you'll see the stats up here, you'll see the game, and you'll also be able to just hit this button if you want to edit. So you can double click, or you can just hit this button here. So that's basically the schedule. You also have the ability to still use this menu up here. You can also use a search. So if I want to go to the Americans, it will take you. Oh, it doesn't take you. I'm sorry. It just changes. So that doesn't really do anything. So I might have to fix that or do something at some point. But for the sake of time and the tutorial, you really shouldn't even be changing it from here. The best thing to probably do is just leave this alone. See, so when you're on the schedule, that's what it is. When you're on the schedule, you can go to any team and it will take you to the roster screen, right? But when you're actually inside of the edit, it doesn't really do anything. Actually, no, it does. Oh, that's weird. Oh, maybe it's because I didn't. See, I learn new things all the time too. Maybe it's because this isn't ready to go anywhere. See, you can't proceed. Oh, you can't proceed. Huh. That's weird. Why was it not? Maybe because I hit this button before. Let me restore it. Ah, I don't know what happened. So let's see. Let's see if I can do something else. Make a change here and see, it's not letting me go now. So that might be a little bit of a bug, but no big deal. You get the idea. I'm just saying that there's a menu here if you want to use it, and this will probably be fixed later on. There's something with editing this that it doesn't like, but that's it. That's the schedule. You can make pretty much whatever schedule you want. I think the only requirement is that you have to have 8 and 8 for home and away games, and that's pretty much it. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and hopefully this made sense and you guys followed along and you guys like what you see here, and you can make whatever schedule you want for whatever season you're creating, and when you're doing franchise mode every year, you're going to want to, every new year you're going to want to create a new schedule for yourself, and I'll be walking through that. There's other tutorial videos all about franchise mode, so check those out, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.